I have a muse that directs my poetry readings who is not very kind. She seems to tell me what I have to read and the way it needs to be read. And like Boris, the question is, do you introduce the poem or you just read the poem? So she told me this time I have to introduce half of them and not introduce the other half. So this one gets no introduction. She also told me that they had to be all new. No other poems that I've ever read before. This is not very kind of the muse, I don't think. This first one's called Black Cherry Trees Ripened Off of Stevenson Road. There were butterflies, hundreds of them, along the path to the cemetery. Though at first I thought grasshoppers. They spread so thickly under our feet and fluttered away from the source of their heaven. These berries spilling from the 40-foot-high fence row, the single seeds cased in viscous red syrup, bitter to my tongue, but enough to draw these fritillaries up to the heights like a melody caught in its upper octaves. We wheeled our bikes through like a small caravan, our lunch packed inside and a blanket for sleeping all afternoon among the graves. In this August oasis of fenced-in reverence, its long lane a doorway of drunken blue wings. Sugar maple. Far from the voices, the tree pulls me up into its gray evolving spiral. Here nothing need be proved, only the wide July day, thick with ants, their homes in the roots, their curious persistent highways up the trunk. Out in the meadow, pairs of goldfinches like clipped and undulating, pulsating flames, light on the gritty thin strands of coneflowers, adding hardly a sway as they pluck the heads clean like tiny Russian hats, leaving rows of dark indentations, continuous sentences in Braille repeating all one word. For the finches, the heights I've climbed in an hour would hardly be the thrust of 2 incantations. Oh, why then not stay up here? I've walked all the melodies, held open the door for love, trimmed my face in the mirrors till it's thin as a fan, melted the eyes of candles, turned the columns of the glassy sandstone cities. Here my arms are long and supple, multiple as some Midwestern Shiva, my evil columns entwined with their redemptive silhouettes. No head, but this dark stubbly phylum flowing skyward and rootward, at least half of me webbed below the ground, so heart hollow I can feel my limbs 20 feet or more in all directions, ride each small breeze, shift for a furious and sudden rain, hardly a drop winding its way down to my ghosted inner ground. A wildfire could sweep this meadow, and I would still stand, singular and scarred, recording that summer like a knife in my bark I'd slowly curl my bulk around. But here, nearly invisible, a doe edges a few feet from my calm drip circle with her twin fawns who nuzzle the dark promise between her thighs. I don't scare her with my humid breath, now as still as hers, now nearly as eternal.